Well, hey y'all, how are y'all doing today?
Well, let's see some thumbs up in there and
Doing good.
awesome. Hey, let's get you started. Hey, so what inspired you to focus on like veteran workforce development transition with the DoD SkillBridge program? What was the impetus there?
Well, for one, we're all a family. I don't know if y'all knew this. If did y'all get clued in at boot camp? We're all family at this point. You passed, you stood on the yellow footprints, got on the other side, or whichever branch that was. But we're all family. I came from a background of a heavily veteran family. When my dad left for boot camp, he graduated from the school of the American School in Tehran in Iran, and then flew to Paris Island. And my grandfather actually retired in Iran and owned property there and was a contractor back when we were friendly. Um, so so I've been in this for a long time, and I one thing that led me to being so passionate was the beauty of being an exennial is the fact that I have a boomer dad who went through NOM, but I can remember AOL. Anywho, so I understood the pathways that and the struggles that they went through back then. And when I came into operations, working in an operations background, I realized that there's so many transferable skills between the military and the civilian sector. And that's outside of the DoD. I'm DoD now, but outside of the DoD, there are so many transferable skills. And my biggest thing was starting the initiative called Grunts Off the Ground. One thing that drove me crazy is groundside Army, groundside Marines, not understanding that they could do a hell of a lot more in the civilian sector besides be a cop and a security guard. You can run major logistics operations. Anybody ever shipped to MRAP? You understand customs forms? Hey, look, that's a skill. You can do that in the civilian sector too. So having that deep rooted background in transportation, supply chain logistics, and then understanding the inner workings of the military and how basically it's just basically one big giant logistics company. Let's be real. Supply chain logistics, you're moving people or gear. So you guys have actually a lot of very transferable skills that go into the civilian sector that we do in the civilian sector. We might call it something different, but the overall concept and holistic view is the same. So I wanted to make sure that people understood that there's so much more out there, and I know it because I worked in it. And also I wanted to make sure you guys understood what you needed to be successful in the civilian sector to get that successful transition. At the end of the day, the thing that takes the toll the worst is the emotional transition. You not having that success, not doing the things that need to be done, and the prep work that's needed can ultimately have a negative effect on your emotional transition. And I'm going to tell you, friends, the first time that you don't put on that uniform, that's a day. I promise you that. That is a day. So there's things that also come into your path that can be challenges that we know you're going to experience. So I want to make sure that we're setting you up with the tools and the goods and the resources and the things that you need and the stuff that you need to know. So that way that transition into the emotional transition is actually a lot more successful. So when you run into that day, it's a little easier.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. The emotional hit is one to the face. It's funny you mentioned logistics because logistics wins wars. I mean, that's how the Nazis leadership knew they were done when all of a sudden they find a chocolate cake that was still fresh. It's little things like that. People don't think about how important that task is.
Yeah.
Um,
They were really good until they ran into snow. So
snow's a hard one to get around.
Russia said, let's just wait till they get to Siberia and it'll just work itself out.
Yeah. Hey, somebody's got to feed the wolves. They got to eat too. So, I mean, what do you think of the biggest challenges we face when transitioning event careers? It sounds like the emotional thing is a big one for you, which I agree with. But what else do you think?
I would say the proper setup. There's one big thing that is understanding what to be prideful about and what to not be prideful about. I get it. You got to, if you're at a rank right now and you're E8, E9, O, whatever, I get you. You did great. But in the civilian sector, you have to be able to understand how to transition into a different type of leader. And you already have it. Because if you reach that rank at one point, you were the butter bars. At one point, you were the brand new LT who had to listen to someone else lower ranking than you to tell you how to do your job. Can I get an amen on that one?
Yeah.
So even with the senior enlisted, if you're coming out as an E9, well, that's great. Do you know how to be an E5 again? Yes, because that's what you got to tap into. When you came into, when you were an E5, what's the one thing you had to learn how to do? Herd cats. You had to learn how to manage your friends. And then you also had to learn how to propose things to leadership. So that way you can gain their buy-in. What you learned how to do that, didn't you? You had to do that. You had to, because if not, they weren't going to listen to you. So, and then you got phased out. But you had to understand how to be able to navigate, and you have to tap into that inner E5. You were that person at one point. So tap into that person, go back. And if there's anything I tell people, go back to your E4s. They're amazing. I'm sorry, E4 Mafia. Y'all are my homies. I always got y'all's back. But go tap onto your E4s, because if there's people who can help you kind of roll that back a little bit, it's going to be them. Because when you get in the civilian sector, I'm going to tell you, we count pennies, bub. We count pennies. So if there's one person, or if there's a rank who knows how to get stuff done and don't ask any questions, it's going to be your E4s. So tap back into them, because in the civilian sector, we're exactly the same way. When you come up, even to a president, let's say you get hired in as a director, you're retiring E9, you're retiring O5, you're a PM, guess what you're going to be doing again? You're not going to be presenting problems. In the military, you present problems, and then they go to their Mary Poppins bag of money and they get you those problems fixed. And the civilian sector is different. And so having those understanding of how that civilian sector works is going to help you be more successful in navigating that. And the E5ness is how you can get stuff done with the tools you have. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I like that, especially, on the civilian side, we don't have a direct link to the money printer going brr like the government side. We're very good at burning it. We're not really good at saving it and making it, though.
But you're gonna.
So
when you tap into that and you have that inner, and you take what you have and make it better, that's cost saving. That's cost saving. When you in the civilian sector, you bring me a problem. Bringing me a problem is bringing me a solution. Okay? If it's a solution that costs money, or processes or changes or all these things, guess what you're going to come across as? You coming in hot, bro. You coming in hot. That's a lot. There's a lot going on. We can't do all that. We've been doing this since 1956 without any problems. You come in and tell us all these problems. That's not the solution. That's coming with a problem. So your mindset's going to be different. How can I make the most of the situation that I'm in and be cost saving at the same time? That's where you tap into that lower rank that you used to be when you had to make it happen with what you had. So when you come to your senior leadership and you say, hey, I noticed, kind of SAR method a little bit, I noticed that we were having this delay in shipment. We were having this delay here. I was able to see and get a hold of this person, and I created this process which had an ROI. Do we know what ROI means?
Return on investment.
Return on investment. That's what they want to hear. Return on investment. That means you're putting money back into their pocket. So that's what they want to hear. That's a key word. So when I say, oh, and I had an ROI of this because I was able to create this process, which better contributed not only to the culture of the team, but to the process as a whole. That's where you come in. That's where you make the best of the situation that you're in. What are E5s great at doing? That. They come up with processes, don't they? They don't come up with, they come up with, and they work. They got to make it happen. So you're kind of using almost that STAR method, like you use in your resume for quantitative data, right? We know that, right? Resume, quantitative data. Hitting that one in. Do we know how it sounds? Do we know what quantitative data sounds like? Raise your hand if you don't. All of you. It's okay. I'm not judging. So quantitative data looks like this. When I came into being an operations manager, I took over 3 accounts. I ended with 6, but I took over 3 accounts. One of them was the UPS account. Well, within 3 weeks of me taking over this account, they shut it down. UPS shut it down. They took it away. They said, hey, we're not using your company anymore. And at first, I'm going to tell you, woo, I cried. I failed. I'm a failure. Well, they had made that decision long before I came in. I wasn't, in 3 weeks, I wasn't saving nothing. That decision was made long before then. So when I came in, I'm already failing. I'm already failing. So I was like, well, this isn't going to happen again. So I started realizing they had a turnover rate, this trucking company, because they had their own CDL school. So they had their own faucet of candidates, kind of like the military with your little recruiters. You got a little faucet of people. But they also had the drain plug not plugged. So even though water's filling up the sink, it's at a slower rate because water is also leaving the sink. That's that's very similar to what happens in the military. So they had a 486% turnover rate. Chew on that one for a minute. 486% turnover rate. Do you know what that does to a customer? Hate you. Because that means stuff's not happening on time. Loads aren't getting delivered on time. They're not seeing the same people, which is culture. You're having the training isn't sticking. No one's even being trained at this point, really, on the account. So that means mistakes are happening. Things are getting ran over. Trailers are getting bumped when they're not supposed to be. There's a lot of problems that happens when you have that type of turnover. So what they needed, even though what the company is saying, you need to maintain the account, what I had to do was figure out how. The how was the turnover and training. I can't train people who are quitting. So I immediately got on the wire, and I'm going to tell you, the militariness is what saved my butt, me being a spouse. Write that down. Your spouse says no stuff. Anyways, so I put out a blast message to all the drivers. I said, look, I understand. I said, I'm here. I want to fix this. I believe in you. I care about my people. And I said, I understand. You're gone for 6 weeks at a time. I get that. My husband was gone on a 2-year unaccompanied tour, 2-year unaccompanied to Japan for 2 years. He was gone after war deployments. It was fun. So I didn't say it exactly that way, but I understand how you feel. I get it. I want to make it better. Please, at least give me 1 more week. Being a week, I will speak to each one of you, and I'm going to get this fixed before anybody else turns in another resignation. They did that. Why did they do that?
Because they believed in you. I mean, you related with them.
I gave them me.
Yep.
I gave them me. Give them you. There's things. Is that a skill? Is being a military spouse a skill? Is going through unaccompanied orders a skill? No, it's not. It is relatability. It's relatability. Be the person. Be vulnerable. Because that vulnerability got me a week of no resignations, which got the attention of senior level management. They were like, oh, wait a minute. Like, how did, I don't know what's happening. It's like a pitcher with a no-hitter. They're like, this is no touchy. Leave her alone. So I came in, I did that. Within 3 months, we went from 486% turnover to 256% turnover. And then within another 3 months, we were down to 60% turnover. In 6 months, we went from 3 accounts, 486% turnover to 60% turnover in 6 accounts.
Yeah, 60% still tough though, but that's a huge win.
So the 60% is good for 486.
Oh yeah, no complaints there. But I'm sure that, I mean, that was a great spot to go. Okay, now let's really kill this.
That is killing it, friend. COVID truck driving, that's killing it. I promise you.
Okay.
So when I was able to do that, what they then tasked me for was making that account, was making those dedicated. We were dedicated drivers. Now I'm turning all my drivers into better drivers. Now they're getting more licensing. Now they're getting more endorsements, more training. We can build more accounts, more dedicated accounts, more expensive accounts. We're pulling in the money. Anybody hearing a return on investment?
It sounds familiar.
So if I went from 486% turnover in 6 months to 60% turnover, how much money do you think I'm saving that company? Do you know? Let me break that down for you.
400%.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if it costs, so let's say I went from losing, I'm throwing numbers out because it's not going to match the percentage, but let's go with numbers. So let's say I'm losing 200 drivers a month, and I went from 200 drivers a month to losing, let's say 10 drivers a month, from 200 to 10 drivers. So, and the cost of a driver. So now let's talk about turnover. So the cost of each person quitting, it takes $10,000 to onboard a new person. 10 grand right off the top, 10 grand just to onboard that driver, to take them from filling out the application to sitting in a truck. It also costs, if they quit, we carry their benefits for 30 days after they quit, because that's the policy that we had at that company. So, and we pay out the owed PTO. So if they're owed, that roughly averages about $6,000 and sometimes more depending upon the company. Now let's include the sign-on bonuses, because drivers were getting sign-on bonuses. Each driver was getting a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Do I have any of my admins jumping on the number train? All right. So now let's take that. Now let's do the math. That's how much money I saved my company.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's how much money. So
it's also cultural too, because you get to keep the people who are actually doing it right to train the next group, and it comes up cheaper.
Well, here's the thing. Remember the setup, the model? We had our own CDL school. So we're not training people in the CDL school to go to other companies. We're retaining them within our own company. Guess what we're able to do? Expand.
Yep.
So not only am I saving the company money in turnover and benefits costs, things like that, not only am I maintaining the accounts that I have, but I'm actually able to build new accounts because we have so many drivers. Whereas other companies who didn't have their own CDL school are all fighting to get my drivers, but they're not getting them.
So,
because I'm friendly.
So, I mean, if I'm Joe Schmo, I just got, Airman Snuffy or whatever, just got out. How do I figure that out when I go into a job interview tactfully to say, hey, basically like, hey, what's your biggest problem? Because some places don't want to share that.
So let's look at this. So let's take vehicles. So during Afghanistan, and I'm not sure if there should be still some Afghanistan deployments in here. So when you got deployed to Afghanistan, didn't they have like this junkyard full of trucks that didn't survive because y'all beat the hell out of them like a Hertz rental car?
Yes. Not even that nice.
Maybe they had a couple hundred. So yeah, so they had those trucks there. So the government's spending money. So let's say that you saw this problem, and what the problem is that they weren't being maintained with water and oil. And the water was evaporating because it's so hot out there that you're not able to maintain the water and the coolant in the vehicle to fight off both evaporation and the lack of resources. You're able to create a way to get a supply chain of water and a person who you can assign to do the maintenance to save of the 200 vehicles that are in the yard, you're actually able to save 60 of those vehicles. Isn't that a cost?
Huge.
How much does that cost? Figure that out. So take what you did. So you guys all have things you fixed, right? You have processes that you made better. You worked with supply, you worked with this department, you worked with another branch, more of a global enterprise, whatever it is that you worked with, you've all done something. So what you're doing is you're not going to tell me, oh, I manage $35 billion of equipment. Well, that's cute. I mean, all of us do. I manage this laptop right here. So I manage $1,000 worth of equipment. Like what does that even mean? So you're not taking that. You're taking the things that you did. Whether the military recognized it and gave you a freaking award for it or not. I mean, you ain't got to have a damn to know that you did a good job. But when you go and you corrected those processes, understand, relive that process. What was involved in that process that you corrected? How was it when you found it? You found 200 trucks in the yard is what you found. You found that there was no one assigned to it. There wasn't a process to maintain those vehicles. Let's say that for someone in that that's probably assigned to motor T, you didn't have anybody to assign. You were able to work with personnel to get you an additional person. So then that way you can have them assigned to checking the maintenance of these vehicles. So then that way, not only can you get them in to be fixed, but see which ones can have quick fixes and then assign the cost. You can't tell me that you can't look up the cost of a gasket or the things that can be associated with the things that were commonly fixed.
Well, plus man
hours. I know
hours.
ChatGPT can. So hint. So you can utilize those problems that you fix and then make them quantitative. Show us the money that you saved the military by the process that you created. Show us the fix that you created. If you restored communications on a ship because there was a down tower and you were able to figure out how to fix that tower on the ship, tell us about it. Because you know how much money you just saved the military? If you can't fix it while you're at sea, what has to happen? Gotta go back to port, right? You can't not have comms on a boat. You gotta go back to port. How much does it cost to go back to port? I know you guys can figure that out. You saved that cost from the military because you were able to restore comms by fixing this. How were you able to fix it? You noticed that somebody was, I don't know, you noticed that there was seawater was coming through a certain hole and it was getting splashed onto the base of it and it was causing issues. That was the problem. You fixed it by getting the right department. And I'm going to get lost in translation, but you got the right department involved to fix the hole and then fix the tower. So then that way you could restore comms. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm. So if we got that far, talk to me about how you coach folks like us about negotiating salary.
Absolutely.
That's one I never had to deal with, in the first time.
I teach a whole class on this. It's a 2-hour class, actually. So when it comes to negotiating salary, first you have to understand what your value is in the area that you're living in. Anybody use ChatGPT?
Everybody.
Do we use it for more than writing our resume?
I hope so.
Did you know that ChatGPT can give you the analytics? I did a video on it. Go back to my Transition Tips Tuesdays on my LinkedIn. I did videos on it. Literally, you can actually look up what the cost of living is, what the pay diversity is, which positions that are there that you could qualify for. You could put in your skills. What are the titles? There's a lot of things that can be used. I actually did videos on it. Go check it out. So when you come and you find that position that actually meets your qualifications and not your overanalyzed qualifications. Are we hearing me on that? Don't tell yourself no. Let them tell you no. Okay. If you got it, you got it. All right. So you're in that part. You look at the job. That's where the salary negotiations start. Did you know that? It's evaluating what you bring to the table and what it is that they're asking for. So if you have a position and you meet all the requirements of that position, please, for the love of God, make sure it's on your resume. So you meet the requirements for that position, and they're like, oh, hey, preferred if you have this and this, let's say a certification. So, and you have that certification. So you go through and then you make it to the interview. Well, in the interview, you better have your notepad and be writing down, because a lot of times in interviews, people are going to say, hey, like, here's this, let me just, I want to make sure you understand the position and what we're going to need from you. Don't get scared. Write that down. They're telling you stuff they didn't put in what? The job description. So when you first fill out that application and it asks you, what is your pay band for this position? You're basing that off of the job description that they gave you. So when you go into the interview and the interview says, oh, but you need to understand all this other stuff, I'm like, yes, I do. I do need to understand all that extra stuff that you're going to pay me for in the end. Go on ahead and spill it out. So when you come to the negotiation, the recruiter is fun. I don't do this, but most do. So the recruiter is going to reach out to you and they're going to want to get your verbal acceptance over the phone. They're going to want it. They're going to strive for it. That's their goal. Get the verbal acceptance, send it over to the hiring manager. Let them know that you verbally accepted, but you're not going to do that. Okay. I want you to write that down. Do not verbally accept under no circumstances. I'm going to give you what to say. As soon as they call, they're going to rattle off all the money, the yummies, the benefits, and all this kind of stuff. So you do need it in writing. I'm getting there. Don't jump the gun because I'm going to tell you what to say. So you're going to need to get that in writing, yes, but you want to make sure that you say the right thing on the phone. So as soon as they get done rattling off all these benefits and monies and everything else that you're writing down on a notepad, you're writing it down, because they're going to say it fast enough to where you're going to be like, how much are they paying me? So then you're going to say, hey, I really appreciate that. I actually would like to discuss this with my wife, with my husband. Or, hey, I need just a little bit to think on this. I just want to make sure that this is not this is the route I want to take. I just want to make sure, everything is good to go. And I give it some thought. It's okay to give it some thought. They are not going to take that offer away from you just because you want to think about it. I promise you. So you say, can I give you a call tomorrow morning? Are you going to call them? No, but you're trying to get off the phone. You want to hang up that phone. So can I give you a call tomorrow morning about 10? It's always going to be this answer. You're not going to go look at your calendar. You're not going to go fumbling around. Nope. Tomorrow morning at 10, every conversation, tomorrow morning at 10. That way you already know what you're going to say. You're not stumbling on your words. You're good to go. So as soon as you hang up that phone, now, hold on. We're going to get into negotiations, but we got to talk about this one moment. Anybody know what it feels like to get that first offer?
Oh, yeah.
Not yet.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know what it feels like? I want you to know what it feels like. Let me explain to you before we get into negotiations. I promise we're going to get there, but let me explain to you how it feels. So when mine dropped papers, I went to Nebraska from North Carolina, and my goal was to secure a job that could support our family. So then that way, when he retired, at least financially, we were okay. So I came in, the offer's not going to disappear, be quiet. So when I came in, when I got my offer, I'm going to tell you, I said those exact words. And then I hung up the phone and I fell to the ground and I cried. I'm telling you, you are going to be emotional. Allow that moment. Please don't keep pushing and then not feel these moments of success that you just secured. You've just been offered a position to secure your family's future, okay? And sustain yourselves. Allow that moment. Seriously, allow that moment. So after that, now I want you to get into your email. So now you've got your email because they've emailed you something, either an interview invitation, a link to the app, whatever it is. You've got an email from somebody. So now you have your email. You're going to get back into your email. And then here in just a minute, I'll actually drop in the chat what to email. Okay, stay tuned. Drop in the chat what to email so you don't say something crazy. You're going to say something crazy. Just know that you are. I've seen it. I've seen it. You're going to say something crazy. I'm going to get you the words. But you're going to give them this. You're going to put in based upon the position. My value for this is going, or my salary expectations are going to be this, blah, blah, blah. You're going to email that over. The recruiter is going to get it. Here's what happens after then. So once they receive that email, the recruiter is not the one who makes the decision on how much. Now, they want you to win, but they don't want to have to argue with the hiring manager. So they might kick it back. They might kick back at you to say, well, you asked for this. I get that, Susan, but I also found out that you guys want me to do all this extra stuff. So you want to make sure that you want that to go to the hiring manager. So they're going to kick it over to the hiring manager and say, hey, I received this email from the candidate. They're negotiating or they're countering your offer for this amount, blah, blah, blah. The hiring manager is going to then take it because he don't hold the strings to the bag. He's got to go to his director or his upper and then get permission. Now, he might immediately say, hey, I get he feels he's worth this much, but nah, kick it back. That means that they have declined your counter. That does not mean that they have taken your offer. You want to know why? Because they have to get permission from HR to do that. They can't just take that. Believe me, HR will hem them up. They're not going to retract your offer or rescind your offer. And if they're going to do one of three things, they're either going to tell you no, they're going to counter your counter with saying, hey, we can't provide that much, but we can go up to this much from our original offer. And then you just say either yes or no. Or they'll accept your counter and they'll say, yeah, we'll take you for that. So one of those three things are going to happen. Notice that all the three things are not taking your offer back because that's not what happens. So then you're going to move on and they'll send you the written offer for what it is that they can offer you. And that is how that works. You want to make sure that you're doing it in writing, but that you're saying the correct things at the same time. So let me get you, having some technical difficulties. There we go. And if you haven't connected with me, make sure we're connected on LinkedIn. Let me get the verbiage for you guys.
Can you share a success story of a vet that you've walked through on this who absolutely killed it with that advice?
Oh, the one who I'm looking up his message right now.
Well, as a matter of fact, yes, I can.
I have lots. So, here we go. So let me paste this. Let me paste this and I'll put it in the chat. Okay, let's go over this and then I'll go through the success story. So it says, good morning. Thank you for the phone call earlier regarding the offer. I am looking forward to joining the blank family, that whatever, MAG Aerospace family or whatever, whoever it is. While I appreciate the offer amount you have extended, I would like to counter, since getting a deeper understanding of what the position needs. Now the parentheses you see, you delete. Not leave that in there. That is me letting you know what you're supposed to put right there. So take that out. Make sure you put in the extras. Remember the notepad in the interview? Extras. That's what goes there. So, and the value I bring to the role to hit the ground running, that's telling them, hey, I'm ready to roll. Let's do this. My counter offer is blank as an annual salary, and my start date will be this. Now, your start date is always the Monday that's 2 weeks later. So right now we're on a Thursday. So that means your start date would be the 3rd. Are we understanding how that works? So you don't count the week that you're in, you count 2 more months, or no, yeah, you count 2 weeks in between and then the Monday after. I feel like that makes sense in my head. Does that make sense in y'all's head?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I say this like every day. So, so with that way you already have a start date in mind, unless you've already discussed the start date. Now, if you already discussed the start date, then you just put that in there. I'm excited to work for this company and bring success to this position. The wording in this is this way on purpose, is because counter offers can be taken as offer competing. So you want to make sure that you're not coming across as if you're trying to get them to go up on the offer so you can take their offer over to another company, which if you do this, you better keep it quiet.
Be real careful.
But so you take their offer over to another company to make them offer you more. So the wording in this, please use it for what it says. It's that way for a reason. So you're telling them, this is telling them retention. I want to work for your company. This is what I need. So that way we can be successful together. Okay. That's why it's worded that way. Yeah. All right. Oh my gosh. One of 1,000 stories I have to choose from.
No, it's
so the guy who did this, he used that verbiage and he was able to get an extra $10,000 in a sign-on bonus. And then I also have, hold on. My mouse, it's like really slow, and then all of a sudden it skips like 80 people. Let's see, Julia Stout. So she reached out to me because she wanted to discuss this position, even though I'd already talked to her, but I'm always happy because a lot of these people, a lot of you guys I develop relationships with, so I want to make sure you're successful. I've been connected with her for a few years now. So she goes, this is what she shared with me. Happy weekend. Sharing an update. Yesterday morning, before I could connect with you, the company asked again what salary I'd like. So I had to come up with a number. I said to myself, what would Delaina say? Heard you pep talking me in my head and shot my best shot. They offered a little more and I said yes to a nearly 35% pay raise.
Woo!
That's awesome. A military spouse.
That's awesome. Hey, before I get to questions, can you tell us a little bit about MAG Aerospace and some of the positions you're trying to?
Yeah, you got a clearance. We should be connected. Period. Clearance connected. I don't care what you do in the military. Clearance connected. Did we get that part down? Clearance connected. All right. The reason is because we have positions that could be logistics. We have positions that could be software development. We have positions that could be cyber related. All mine is for a CETA program, specifically mine. So if you have been a part of acquisitions, you got DoD 5,000 experience, senior software development, things like that, I'm your girl. But I have recruiters who recruit pilots. I have recruiters who recruit aircraft maintenance. I have recruiters who recruit all the stuff. So make sure that you are, you keep track of 2 things. Write this down. The 2 things you need to make sure and keep track of. 1, Job Friday or Job Friday posting. So every Friday I post all of my specific programs, positions, current open positions, every Friday on LinkedIn. So that way you know what I have open. Did you guys know that recruiters open positions every day? Yeah. So if you only check once a day, is there a chance that you might miss out on, or not once a day, but once every once in a while, you might miss out on something? That's absolutely true. So you need to make sure that you're following. So we have Oscar. I'm going to tag his, there we go. So we have Oscar. We've got, now it might show that I have like notifications because I always have like 80 of them. So we have Oscar, and then we also have Victoria. They do different ones. They have different programs that they support. They're both two different programs. So you want to make sure to follow both. They're always looking for people. And then I will share our jobs page. Now we're the ones that are most active on LinkedIn. I still have a recruiter that uses email. No lie. Emails people and it works. I don't know, but it works. I don't play with his game. His game works. But so here's the link that's to all of our positions. Definitely make sure you're checking in. If you have any position, if there's positions that you applied to, now let's chat about this real quick. Please, for the love of God, no more. Let it end today. You do not comment on people's postings. Interested. We don't want to hear it. Cool. You're interested. I'm interested in the Sox and how they're going to do next year. What I want to see is applications submitted. Okay. I can't pull your application if there ain't one. I can't schedule a screening if there's not an application. I can't push you to the hiring manager if there's not, ladies and gentlemen, an application. So make sure that you submit your application, then go back and comment on the post application submitted. Because you know what this girl's going to do? I'm going to go into my ATS, and I don't even care if you've been rejected. Did you know I could change your status? Even if you got that rejection email immediately, that's an auto reject. Even if you got that, make sure you comment and let me know that you applied to one of our positions, because I can go in there, I can revert your status, or I can at least let you know why you were declined. Okay, so you get one of two things. And then if you are qualified, if you're good to go, I can ensure that the recruiter looks at your application and looks at your resume to make sure you're good to go. We have a fleet of military veterans and spouses in our program, in our recruiting team. We are all very empathetic, so, and understanding. So we want you to win. We want you to win with us. Make sure you submit your application and then let us know that you did.
Oh yeah, I always went out of the way for the military folks when I saw them. I'd even make calls and be like, "Dude, your resume looks like a tornado hit it. Let's chat." You know, this is the little things, because you will get little things like that, especially if it's somebody like us who is in that seat. And then others just click, forget. You know, so you got to find that end around. But Katie's got a question. Go ahead.
Hey, Katie.
Just turned her camera off. Oh, she might have walked away. How about Christopher? How about you?
Hi, Delaina.
Hey, Chris, what's up, bro?
So for your company specifically, some of us are still going through the SkillBridge part, and we're looking for like the OJT training. So if we apply to any of the open positions, do we just need to like put that in like the notes or anything specific?
So you know when you're going to be on terminal leave, correct?
Yes.
So just make sure your start date is reflective, because it's going to ask you what day are you looking to start. So make sure your start date is reflective of when you start terminal leave.
Okay.
So that way we can understand where you are in your process, because you can't start on a DOD, especially DOD. You cannot start until you start terminal leave with us.
Yeah, the contract stuff and funding.
They won't allow. Yeah, they won't allow it.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Well, Katie, go ahead.
How much back and forth would you say is appropriate when it comes to offer negotiation? Like how many times?
It depends on the job market.
Okay.
To be honest with you, in 2021, 2022, You could have gone back and forth a few times, especially if you're extremely qualified for the position, and they're just not finding a lot of talent in the job market that we're in right now. I would say once,
Okay.
because you don't want to crap where you eat. So you don't,
Right.
because they can do that. If there's too much negotiating, they can go to HR and say rescind the offer.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
want to make sure you can negotiate. Do not let that scare you. But understand that we're in a time right now where there's more talent than there isn't. So
Gotcha.
they're only going to go back and forth maybe a couple of times, and then after then they've got 5 other people in the pool that they could probably reach out to.
Okay. And then like how creative can you get with the offer, like the initial offer? Like say if I like say I'm cool with what they've got, but I want to add like, can I get 5 extra PTO days? Can I do that kind of stuff?
No, I'm going to tell y'all no.
Mm.
And the
Okay.
reason is, and I'm sorry, I know this comes across brash, but we're gonna have a lesson real quick on how civilian PTO works. Because I know a lot of people, for one, PTO negotiations do not go to your hiring manager, they go to HR. So HR is the one who has to approve that. Why? Because PTO is a benefit. So HR manager literally has, our hiring manager has nothing to do with that. So a lot of military don't understand how civilian sector PTO works versus how the military PTO works. Our PTO is actually better. And you're saying, but wait, Delaina, they give us 30 days. They give us 30 days. They give you 30 calendar days. We give you 2 weeks business days. Our PTO is business days that you're expected to be in the office.
Okay.
So let's say you have a 3-day weekend. That means that you have 3 days and you're going to take PTO over that weekend. So let's use a calendar, for example, because we've got whatchamacallit coming up.
Yeah, that was one thing I hated about military leave. If it went over the weekend, you still had to take leave on the weekend, even though you weren't working. I can't tell you
I'm
how
gonna
many
share my
times
screen real quick. Hold on,
I
folks.
came into work on a Monday or a Friday just to avoid that.
Yep.
And that's definitely like my personal confusion, like trying to understand what civilian benefits look like compared to military. Because like I've even been told like if you're gonna get out and you're gonna have medical coverage, like negotiate so that way you can get like have the civilian employer not have to pay for your medical coverage, but you can get like a sign-on bonus or you can get an extra couple bucks a month.
Yeah, no, don't do that either, because that extra $2 a month that you could have got a sign-on bonus or more in salary, so you just shortchanged yourself. So, and we'll talk about that. So let's say that, let's say Veterans Day, they're going to give us off the 10th, right? Why isn't it showing the 1st? Ugh, I hate that. It's cutting it off. Let's America. I need a holiday where I can see the whole thing. Okay, so let's do this. So let's say your company gives you off, because some companies do that, both Thursday for Thanksgiving, or no, that's not Thanksgiving. So let's say that they give you off Thursday for Thanksgiving and they give you that Friday off, and then you have a Saturday and Sunday. So let's say that you take an entire week off Wednesday to Tuesday. That means that you're only going to utilize 3 days of your PTO. Because this day is free, this day is free, this day is free, and this day is free. Does that make sense? If you were in the military, this day, 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 those are all coming out of your PTO bank. Oh, and the civilian sector doesn't care how far you travel. You can fly to Paris and back on your PTO, and we don't care as long as you show up for work.
That's what I'm
Unless you're in a TSSCI facility in a skiff, that's where it's a little different. But in the civilian sector, typically you don't have to report anywhere where you go, how long. We don't care about any of that. We just need to know when you're leaving work and when you're going to be back to work. So when military come out and they start negotiating PTO, it can come off negative because of the fact that not only do we offer you the 2 weeks of PTO, but we're also offering you so many holidays for free as well. So when I worked for J&J, you got 15 days, or no, sorry, because theirs was, let me talk about mine. So ours is 13 holidays, and then you get 2 weeks PTO. So when you add all that together, that's basically a month. That's just shy of having a whole month off. That's paid for. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So when you're asking for 5 more days, they're going to look at it holistically. Well, you're already getting 27 days for free that we pay for.
Yep.
I see. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. So, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I appreciate you explaining all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that question tons of times. It was like, this is Raytheon. They don't play that game. It's like,
we're already giving you, and we don't care how you put it together on the calendar either. If you got 2 holidays that are right next to each other or within each other, or you want to take a Friday and a Tuesday off for every single holiday that we have, which you can do if you do your PTO correctly and they sign off on it, but you can end up having like literally weeks off a year. So in several vacations, I took cruises literally because we lived in Florida. The port was right there. I aligned my PTO correctly with the holidays, and I'm off on a cruise. And I only use like 2 days of PTO.
Yeah,
so manage your PTO and have an understanding with how that works. So that way you're negotiating the right thing. Let's go into healthcare real quick. And Jesus, take the wheel on the healthcare. So when it comes to healthcare, for one, do you know what your TRICARE is going to look like when you get out? Have you spoken to your TRICARE representative and in the area that you're going to live in to see what your benefits are going to look like that you're now actually about to start paying for? If you had not, why are you negotiating to get rid of a benefit you don't even know if you're going to utilize yet? Did you know that when you live in an area that's not a military town, you actually have less coverage of doctors who take TRICARE because TRICARE is so cheap? Cheap as in what they pay the doctor? Did you know that there's like, I don't know, 18 different types of TRICAREs? So have an understanding before you jump to saying no to health benefits that you don't even know are going to help you or not. You need to invest the time in understanding what it is that you're going to get. Because you're going to have to wait until the benefits reopen again. I forget what it's called. But you're going to have to wait a whole year, it could be, until benefits reopen for you to sign up for health insurance that you actually did need. You have kids, I have a kid with an IEP. He takes speech lessons, stuff like that, or speech therapy, stuff like that. There's things that in TRICARE that are not covered. Did you know that eye care is not covered?
That sucks.
You got kids, and you got, especially if all 4 of you is wearing glasses, guess who's paying for that? 100% out of pocket. You, if you deny the coverage. So make sure that you understand what it is that TRICARE is going to cost you, what they're going to cover, the area that you're going to be in, the coverage, the doctors, the whole caboodle before you start denying coverage from the company. Now, how much does that coverage denial gonna save you? Most of the time, nothing. So companies, real small businesses, you'll actually save them money, and you could get an extra $5 a paycheck. Okay, that's not even a Starbucks. So what if you could have negotiated your salary to be higher? So let's break it down. So if you were able to negotiate your salary for $5,000 more, but instead of negotiating your salary, you decided to negotiate your medical benefits, which they decided to compensate you an extra $1,200 a month or $1,200 a year for, how much did you just miss out on?
Yeah, it's a consideration. So we're running up against the clock, Delaina, but any quick closing thoughts before I let you get back to it?
Ask questions.
Yeah,
Don't assume that you don't know what you don't know, but arrogance keeps you stupid. So don't assume that you know the answer. Ask questions. Know that everything that you know could be wrong. And it might not be all of the information that you need to make an informed decision. This is your family's life, literally, your kids. Everything that you have is resting on these decisions that you're making. Ask questions. And every entity there's always a customer service. So research, go into ChatGPT and literally ask it, what is the cost associated for a veteran living in the state of Maryland? Are there any extra resources that are out there? What resources is out there if I qualify for this percentage of a VA rating? Ask those questions. There's a lot of cost saving things. There's actually a ton of resources out there for you guys that aren't utilized because people aren't reaching out. They're literally going off of the information that they have and making decisions based on that. And I'm here to tell you, I've lived a lot. I've run that path. There's so many things that even me, an advocate, didn't even know at the 2 years later after transition that I wish I'd have known during transition.
And that's why we have you here. Delaina Morse, MAG Aerospace, thank you very much for taking some time out of your day. Drop some wisdom and share some no BS, unfiltered information. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Reach out anytime, you guys. I'm here. If you have, real quick, if you are in the middle of an offer negotiation and you're feeling some type of way, blow my LinkedIn up. You have permit only in that manner. But if you're in that moment and you're feeling some type of way, you just want to run it by me. You want to make sure you're doing the right thing. I don't blame you. I would too. I run mine by people, believe that or not, and I know what I'm doing. So do that. You can offer all in caps, send a message to me. I'm happy to jump in, see you maybe jumping on a call with you. I want to make sure you get success too. So I'm happy to chat with you.
Awesome. Thanks again. So, hey, guys, we're going to come up, take a quick 2-minute break here, and then we'll have blue collar recruiters next. Thanks again, Delaina. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. I know that was a really quick break, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Julie, are you the main presenter?
Oh, that'll be me, Sheila. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Troy here. That's okay.
Find you.
There's a lot of people on this call. This is awesome.
And I'm trying to find you. I'm sorry. Who was that?
Troy.
Troy.
Troy
I'll find you
Latough.
and pin you. There you are. Okay.
I'm the guy with the
I'll
blue
pin.
collar.
Found you. I'll pin both of you. That way everybody's looking at you guys.
And then
All right.
and also pin Mr. Dan Daly down there too. He is.
I wish there was any like order to how these faces show up on here.
You see him, Dan?
Get in there.
If I say something, I can wave. I don't know. That probably won't help. Not
I
that-
kind of just have to click through the screens until I find you. But while I'm
His camera is
doing
on.
that-
I think he's on the first page for me anyway.
Under the reactions tab on the bottom, if you raise your hand, it goes to the front. She can find you.
There you go.
there you are. Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
wow, look at that. All right.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll introduce you guys just briefly and then hand it over to you because I know you have like a presentation and everything. So today we have the Blue Collar Recruiter. They are, as the name suggests, a recruiting agency, and they specialize in, again, as the name suggests, blue collar jobs. So HVAC, electricians, all those types of things. So if you have remotely any interest in this, they're also a virtual trade school. So they recruit and train for blue collar trades jobs. So that said, I'll turn it over to you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna kick. My name is Troy, so I'm the president founder of the Blue Collar Recruiter. We're gonna go through all this. We want this to be very interactive, and I'm gonna start this off with a short video, if I can get it started here. All right. Well, of course, hang on one second. I always forget to hear the sound. Are you transitioning out of the military? We've got options to help you launch a career, start a business, or grow your future in the skilled trades. It all starts by learning a trade with the Blue Collar Virtual Trade School. It's our fast-track online training program that helps you earn industry certifications in high-demand trades like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and more. All designed to help you get job ready and prepared for your next career move. Ready to build your own recruiting firm? The Blue Collar Recruiter franchise might be a good fit for you. With our proven system, you can build your own recruiting and training business, supporting the skilled trades industry while creating long-term income and a positive impact in your community. Maybe you want to work for us. We're hiring. Join our growing team of recruiters who are passionate about helping veterans and civilians alike succeed in the trades. Prefer to explore other job openings today? Just post your resume on bluecollarrecruits.com. This is our job board that's built for the trades, and it's your direct connection to top employers who value your skills. No matter your path, we're here to help you make a smooth and strategic transition into the civilian workforce. The trades need leaders like you. Let's build something great together. All right, so let me back out of here. So I'll introduce our business here. So we are the Blue Collar Recruiter Virtual Trade School. I've got a couple of people from my team, Julie and Dan, with me today. They're both going to chime in. Julie's going to take some notes as we go through for people that are interested in different things. I want to make sure that it's very, very clear though, because sometimes there is a bit of a confusion that we only recruit for and place skilled workers. It's not true. We in fact, about 50% of our placements are white collar jobs for blue collar businesses, if you think about that. So general managers, supervisors, operations managers, salespeople, office staff, IT people, that sort of thing. On top of course, field, technicians and that sort of thing. So we help blue collar businesses find and fill all of their jobs, right? So think about it more holistically. So again, thank you for the time. We've been working with the Seven Eagle Group here for almost a year now, and it's been fantastic. Dan, who's on the call with me, was part of that program, part of the transitioning SkillBridge program. We've got just within our blue collar recruiting teams, there's I think we're at 8 people now that work for us coming out of the system, which is pretty awesome. But we are really, really in love with this program, and we want to engage this much, much further. So we're taking a lot of big, bold steps to help you all find the next step, right, in your career. And so thank you all for your service to this point, and now is when the fun really begins, right? So what's phase 2 look like? And what we want to do is kind of talk about 4 different buckets that I think that we've kind of put everybody in a little bit here. And what we're looking for from you is a raise of a hand and that sort of thing of, number one, bucket number one. So looking for the next career. So some people have been in the military for a short time, some people for a long time. But what do you want to do when you get out? Are you looking for a job, right? You want to be a project manager, you want to be a supervisor, you want to be in sales, you want to be in office, you want to be in IT, you want to be a technical or technician. Any of those things. Anybody on this call, there's a lot of people, so it's going to be hard for Julie to write everybody's name down fast. But who on this call at a high level is looking for maybe some help to land their next gig?
And if I can interject too, I see a lot of ones going into the chat, which is exactly what I was going to ask for. But go ahead and put a 1, as well as what career field you want to be in, into your chat.
So we're going to talk about number 1 here in a second. And so thank you for that, Dan. Number 2, some people, maybe you're not looking for another job. Maybe you're looking for the next thing. Maybe it's a side hustle, right? As to speak. Maybe you want to flip houses. Maybe you want to manage properties. Maybe you want to learn a trade, right? Just for fun. Some people want to learn things just to learn things. But there seems to be, and Dan, help me keep me straight on this, but there's a lot of people that come out of the military that are looking for a side hustle. Tell me more about that from your experience.
Yeah, so I know just a little bit of my backstory. I was in the 7 Eagle group, like Troy said. I transitioned out of the Army back in April. 7 Eagles, who made the connection between me and the blue collar recruiter, and got me into this position in this role. But I know one of the things that we talked a lot about during our Foundations Week and throughout the program with 7 Eagle was, you should always have a side hustle. And I think for a lot of us in the military, where we have access to small business loans, where we have access to VA loans for real estate and things like that, property management, buying houses, flipping houses, having renters, things like that is something that, and some of you are probably already doing it. But I know we always talked about having that side hustle and how important the side hustle is. So, anyone who has an intended side hustle or knows what their side hustle is, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat with what you want your side hustle to be. If you're interested in flipping houses, if you're interested in managing properties, I know there's a lot of people who want their side hustle to be like selling financial services and things like that. So go ahead and put in the chat if you have a side hustle, and you can be more than one of these, right? You could be a 1 who's looking for your next career, but you're also looking for that side hustle. So go ahead and put in, even if you said you're a 1, you can put in if you're also a 2 and let us know what you want to do as that side hustle.
Once you're locked in, you can't change it either, ever. I'm just
No.
kidding. No, you can always change it. So, all right, no big deal. Yeah. All right. So number 3, some people get out of the military and, you all probably get bombarded with different kinds of things with, hey, start your business, start your business. So I see it all the time where, people coming out of the military, you come with processes and leadership, and you come with all these really cool things. And sometimes if you've got access to capital, or you want to just start something on your own from scratch, starting your own business can be very, very fulfilling. And some of you have probably been thinking about it for the last, who knows, several weeks, months, years, thinking about what you're going to do. Maybe a full-time business, part-time business. Maybe it's a startup business. Maybe it's buying a business. Maybe it's starting a franchise, buying a franchise, things like that. So anybody interested in number 3, please throw that in the chat. And we'll come back to that here in a second.
Yeah, number 3 is cool because it's kind of a combination of 1 or 2. It's business ownership, and you're going all in. That's what you want to do. You want to own some type of business. And if you're putting a 3 in there, go ahead and say what kind of business you'd like to own.
Okay. And then, so lastly, sometimes, people come in, I'm not really sure what I would do yet. There's nothing wrong with doing what you've all have done and come out of it going, I'm really not sure what my next step is. If that's the case, hang in there with us. We might have something that'll pique your interest here in a minute, but just put in a number 4 for us and let's see how the kind of balance weighs itself out here. All right, so let's go back. So let's refocus on number 1, right? So Dan, I'll let you kind of walk everybody through what this looks like and the different ways that they can go about this.
Yeah, so for the ones out there, everyone who's looking to see what the next mission is after the military, it can be really daunting. I remember when I went through it, it's exciting and you're like opening a new chapter and it's fun, but you're doing something you've never done before. I know that prior to finding this job at the Blue Collar Recruiter, I hadn't put together a resume or applied for a job or anything in 13 years personally. That's how long I was in the Army. So it can be really daunting. And one thing that we specialize in at the Blue Collar Recruiting is, as the name says, we're recruiters, right? We have connections in our communities and across the country. I mean, Troy can speak to it, but we have a footprint basically nationwide. I mean, we've recruited for positions in most of the 50 United States. And we have these networks and these connections that you guys might need. And what the offer kind of is here is that we're looking to help you and be your agent, if you will. So if you're looking to get into an HR job and you're like, I just don't know how to break in, I don't know how to get an interview, and I know Seven Eagle does a lot to help you with that. But what the offer with Boots to Blue Collar is let us be your agent. We're going to do recruiting in reverse. We're going to find the candidate, right? We're going to find what makes you special, what your skills are, what you're looking for, what area you're looking to go to. And we're going to try and go find that employer for you. And the bonus is that this is at no cost to you, right? So there's no cost to the candidate to have us come out and help you try and find a job. So if that's something that you're interested in, you could either send your information through the web form there. But if that's really speaking to you, if you're like, hey, I'm lost in this and I need some help, or even if you're not lost and you still want help anyway, it's free. Go ahead and you could private message Julie if you want with your name, your contact information, email, phone number, and we'll have someone in touch with you about how we can help to be your agent.
And it's really simple. There's no strings attached. There's no tricks. This is really, we're here to benefit you and help you. And all it is we'll set up a call with you, walk through a short questionnaire of the who and the what and the where and the why and the when and all that kind of thing. And then my team, we've got a big sales team that we just go out and find clients that fit that kind of criteria and say, hey, we've got someone here, we've put eyes on them, we've talked to them, and we really feel like they'd be a good, strong candidate for a position that you have open in your area. So it's nothing magical, but it gives you a little extra horsepower, being introduced to potential employers who might not understand what you're doing or how your skill sets fit into what they're looking for, or even how in some situations how the SkillBridge opportunity might benefit their business, right? So we will help explain that to them, see the benefit on all sides, and go to bat for you. And again, to Dan's point, it doesn't cost you anything. You got nothing to lose, but help us help you, right? So any questions on this? So this is, again, we've got a whole hour here, guys. So we have more than enough time to answer any, questions about this or about baseball or whatever else you want to talk about. Is everybody sick of being on Zoom calls today? That could be part of it. We should have number 5. Who's sick of being on Zoom calls today? Right. All right. So, okay. So the next part here is we do make it pretty easy for you all to just, has anybody ever put anything on LinkedIn, built a profile on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or anything else? This is really that kind of platform that we've built where you can easily, without even talking to anybody, you can create an account, go right to this bluecollarrecruits.com.
build your profile, add your picture, add your resume, tell everybody your story, your background. And again, it's a little bit like LinkedIn where it's a profile plus resume, like Indeed. So it's a blend of the two. And what's nice about that is every employer that's on the database can find you, plus all of our recruiting team. And we've got about 40 recruiters across the country that look at this every day. And so on top of, I know you all probably have your resume and different things on the Seven Eagle dashboard, but this is another place just to get some additional exposure. And it's super easy to do.
And hey, Troy, I think we have a hand up from Chris.
Oh,
Chris
hey, Chris.
Banzit.
Awesome. Chris.
Hey, what's going on, Troy? How you doing today?
Awesome. Thank you. How are you?
I'm sorry I'm not on camera. I'm actually in my truck right now, so I do
That's all right.
apologize for that.
I can tell you're a good looking guy just by your picture.
Well, that's what my wife would say, and probably my mom, and that's probably about it. But
my wife and mom. There you go.
so I had a question. Do you guys look for like remote positions as well, or are most of the positions that you recruit for in place? See, the reason I'm asking is, so I'm retiring from the Air Force, but my wife is still active duty Army. She's got about 7.5 years or so at least before she's retirement eligible. And I just don't want to, like, if she moves or something, I don't want to have to go find another job, and so that's why remote kind of appeals to me. I'm in Crestview, Florida area near like Fort Walton Beach.
Very familiar.
Area. I do have construction experience and stuff as well. My first job, actually, I used to build houses. And I had a handyman business on the side. So I've done everything from electrical, plumbing to, I've done decking and felt for roofing, but that's about as far as I've done with roofing. I've done gutters, I've done sprinkler system. I've done a lot of stuff. And so I'm a certified project management professional, and I'm just trying to find something that, kind of makes sense for me, but I also don't want to have to find another job in like 2 years when she leaves or something like that. So just any insight you have on that, maybe recommendations or advice.
Well, the answer is yes. So let's look at scenarios. So remote jobs, we place remote jobs all the time. Now, if it might be a little bit tricky if want to be in construction doing that remotely, but there are things that are out there for sure that are remote jobs in the construction industry, right? So that's kind of part of the questionnaire, Chris. Is what really let's really explore what kinds of things we can do if it needs to be remote. But let's look at worst case scenario. Let's just say, hey, here I'm in, Fort Walton Beach area, and I'm probably going to be here for the next 2 years at least. And who knows, you might end up staying there, right? But if you got a job there and everything worked out great, and 2 years from now something had to change, well, guess what? You can come back to us and say, hey guys, I need some help again. Do you have anything up in, wherever, Wisconsin? You're not going to move to Wisconsin, are you, Chris?
Ideally, no, but
I'm just kidding. I love Wisconsin. I grew up in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's a great place. Then I'm just kidding. No, I also have my master's in health administration too, so it doesn't have to be. And I'm at my bachelor of sciences in IT, so it doesn't have to be limited to just construction.
Yeah, you got a wide background. That's awesome.
I have a lot of experience. I'm green belt certified as well, and CompTIA Security Plus. So I've done a lot of things. Air Force has been pretty fortunate for me in terms of opportunity. And so, I'll definitely put my stuff on there. I'd love to connect with you, maybe talk further, see what we can do, and see if there's anything potential going forward. I appreciate you.
That's great. Yep. No, that's exactly perfect, right? So you got eyes wide open, and that's the whole point. This isn't a one-off thing. This is a relationship we want to build with you for a long time and any of your friends, and certainly, finding new clients in different industries help everybody, right? So thank you for that question. Any other questions on this? Good place to start. All right, we'll keep moving then. The virtual trade school. Roy. All right. Should I go back a slide? Yes. Roy, go ahead.
How's it going? Thanks for taking the time to come talk to us. I appreciate you guys' time.
Of course.
My question was for Dan. Because you had mentioned that you had went through this transition before. So my question is, what is something that you wish that somebody had told you or advice, whatever that may have been, That's somebody that I told you back then and you wish you would have known, given that you've already given that transition process.
Yeah, so the advice I wish I would have gotten, and I guess I kind of did to an extent, but is to keep an open mind. I think I kind of got that advice through Seven Eagle, talking with I think I saw Ernie on the call. He gave me some great advice, as well as some other guys there. But it's keep an open mind. I thought I was getting out of the military, and I said, well, I went and I got this certification and I have this experience, so this is what I'm gonna do. And I'm going into something blind. I don't know the civilian market like I thought I did, right? I thought I could figure that out on my own and say, well, 2 + 2 = 4, but it's not simple algebra like that. We're doing calculus here. And I didn't know that I wanted to get into recruiting. But the opportunity